There's a version of you that people respect deeply. That version doesn't overshare, doesn't explain itself constantly, doesn't hand its power away in conversation without realizing it. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. 7 things you should never tell anyone, and why staying quiet about them will quietly change everything. 1. Your next move. Most people announce their goals the moment they feel excited about them. They tell their friends, their family, their coworkers, and it feels good in the moment. It feels like momentum. But here's what's actually happening inside your brain. When you tell someone about a goal, your brain gets a small hit of satisfaction. Like, you already did something. Researchers call this a social reality. Your mind starts treating the announcement as partial completion. And once that feeling arrives, your drive quietly fades. You told the story. The story felt real. And now, the urgency is gone. The people who actually finish things, they stay quiet. They let the result do the talking. They understand that excitement shared too early is energy spent too soon. But there's another layer to this that most people miss. When you share a goal before it's real, you also open yourself up to other people's doubt. And doubt doesn't always come loudly. Sometimes it comes as a raised eyebrow, a hesitation before they respond. Oh, that sounds difficult, wrapped in a smile. And even if you don't consciously register it, your confidence absorbs it. You start second-guessing something you were certain about an hour ago. Not because you thought it through more carefully, but because someone else's uncertainty got into the room. Protect the early stages of anything important. Let it get strong enough to survive criticism before you expose it to the world. The vision you keep private stays yours. The moment you share it prematurely, it starts belonging to everyone's opinion of it. So, if you're planning something, a business, a move, a change, a decision, protect it. Let it grow in private. Silence around your goals isn't secrecy, it's strategy. 2. How much you earn. This one feels harmless, maybe even like honesty. But sharing your income, in either direction, almost always creates distance. If you earn more than the people around you, resentment shows up. Not always, obviously. Sometimes it's subtle, the slightly colder response, the joke with an edge to it, the assumption that you don't need help or consideration. People stop seeing you and start seeing a number. If you earn less, something different happens. People unconsciously start underestimating your judgment. Your ideas get filtered through that number. Your confidence takes a quiet hit every time the topic comes up. Your financial life is yours. It's not a confession, it's not a flex, and it's not anyone else's business. The people who are most respected in a room are rarely the ones who've told everyone what they make. They're the ones who've made money irrelevant to how they show up. Keep the number to yourself. Let your presence speak instead. 3. Your personal life problems. Not all of them. Not to everyone. There's a difference between opening up to someone you genuinely trust and using people as emotional dumping grounds without realizing it. Most of us have done the second thing while believing we were doing the first. Here's how you know the difference. When you share a problem with someone, ask yourself honestly, am I looking for perspective or am I looking for an audience? Because perspective helps you grow, but an audience just keeps the problem alive. You retell it, they react, you feel temporarily heard, and then the problem is still there, just more rehearsed. Beyond that, oversharing your struggles with the wrong people gives them a map of your vulnerabilities. And not everyone who listens to you wishes you well. Some people file that information away. Not maliciously, just human nature. Information about weakness gets remembered. You don't have to be closed. You just have to be selective. Share your problems with people who have the wisdom to help you solve them, not just the willingness to hear them. 4. Your past mistakes in the wrong rooms. This is a subtle one, and it catches a lot of good people off guard. There's real value in owning your mistakes. Accountability is mature. Honesty is attractive. But there's a version of this that crosses over from self-awareness into self-sabotage. And it happens when you volunteer your failures to people who haven't earned that information. When you confess a past mistake to someone in a professional setting, or someone you're still building trust with, you're not showing humility. You're handing them a lens they'll use to see you through permanently. That lens doesn't update easily, even when you've clearly moved on. The people who know your full story, the real mistakes, the difficult chapters, those should be a very short list. Not because you're hiding anything, but because context requires closeness. Without it, people take the headline and skip the depth. And here's something worth sitting with. The version of you that made those mistakes is not the version standing here now. You've processed it, you've learned from it, you've moved. But the person hearing it for the first time doesn't have access to that journey. All they have is the story, and a story without context is just a fact, cold, flat, and permanent in the way they file you away. You get to decide who receives the full picture. Not everyone deserves that level of access. Reserve your most honest chapters for the people who have proven over time that they'll hold them carefully. Your past is part of you. It doesn't have to be part of every conversation. 5. How deeply you dislike someone. You've probably felt it. That moment in conversation where someone pushes just enough that you want to be honest about how you really feel about a third person. Maybe it's a coworker, a family member, someone in your social circle. The frustration is real. The feelings are valid. But saying it out loud is almost always a mistake. Here's why. The person you're telling is watching two things at once. They're hearing what you're saying about that other person, and they're learning what you're capable of saying about someone behind their back. Both things register, even if they agree with you in the moment. And conversations travel. What you say about someone in what feels like a private moment has a way of looping back. Sometimes distorted, sometimes not. Either way, your words are out there, attached to your name, without the tone or context you intended. The deeper skill here is processing frustration without broadcasting it. You can feel strongly about someone without making that feeling a headline. Quiet people with strong opinions are respected. People who narrate every grievance are eventually avoided. Hold it. Process it privately, or with one trusted person. Then let it go. 6. Your fears. Not all of your fears, not to everyone. Fear is one of the most human things there is. Acknowledging it to yourself is healthy. Working through it is necessary. But casually sharing your fears with people who aren't equipped to hold them, or who benefit from knowing them, is quietly dangerous. When people know what you're afraid of, they know how to manage you. This isn't always intentional, but it happens. A boss who knows you're afraid of confrontation will lean on that. A partner who knows your deepest insecurity might, in a difficult moment, press on it. Not necessarily out of cruelty, just because people use the information they have. There's also a psychological effect worth understanding. Every time you verbalize a fear, you give it slightly more reality. You rehearse it. You make it a little more solid. The fears you keep quiet have less power over you than the ones you narrate constantly. Think about the fears you've spoken out loud the most. Are they getting smaller, or do they feel more permanent the more you describe them? For most people, it's the second one. The narrative around a fear can become more limiting than the fear itself. You start identifying with it. It becomes part of how you introduce yourself to your own life. This doesn't mean suppress everything. It means choose your audience carefully. Work through fear, but work through it with people who will help you dismantle it, not just witness it. Save the deepest fears for people who are genuinely safe to share them with. 7. Everything you know. This is the one nobody talks about, and it might be the most important. When you walk into a conversation and immediately show every card, every opinion, every piece of knowledge you have on a topic, every angle you've considered, you feel smart in the moment. But something else happens too. You remove all the mystery. You leave nothing for people to wonder about, and people stop asking. The most magnetic people in any room are not the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who make you feel like there's more beneath the surface. Like every conversation is only uncovering part of the picture. That quality, that sense of depth, doesn't come from having more to say. It comes from saying less than you could. Restraint in conversation is not the same as being withdrawn. It's knowing when to speak and when to let silence do the work. It's asking a question instead of delivering an answer. It's being comfortable enough in your own knowledge that you don't need to perform it. When you stop trying to prove everything you know, people start assuming the best, and they're usually right. Here's what ties all 7 together. None of this is about being closed off. It's not about being secretive or cold or guarded in a way that keeps people out. It's about understanding something most people never learn, that what you don't say shapes how you're seen just as much as what you do. Every time you protect your next move, you preserve your drive. Every time you keep your income private, you stay in control of how people see you. Every time you choose who hears your problems, you choose who has influence over your life. Every time you guard your past, you decide the lens people see you through. Every time you hold back a grievance, you protect your reputation. Every time you keep your fears selective, you take back your power. And every time you leave something unsaid, you create the one thing that is almost impossible to manufacture: depth. The people who get the most respect in a room are rarely the loudest. They're the ones who seem like they know something. And sometimes what they know is simply this: that not everything needs to be said. You don't have to shrink. You don't have to lie. You don't have to pretend. You just have to be a little more deliberate, a little more intentional about what you give away and what you keep, because your words are one of the few things that, once given, you can never fully take back. Choose them accordingly. If this shifted something for you, share it with one person who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.